guys, welcome back to RL Design Innovation. My name is Brian, and over the last week and a half, I received approximately 20 emails asking about when you first install a camera on your laser, maybe the Xtool S1, the camera kit, or on any other laser, what are the steps you go through to calibrate the lens, calibrate the camera with your laser, do offset alignment or X shift, Y shift? Do you do both? Do you do one? What is the process for that? So we're going to go through today from soup to nuts, from the beginning to the ending of installing the camera into your laser and then all the steps to follow. So sit back and let's get over to the workstation so we can get started. Open this up and you can see this is really clean. I put a little light on there. You could see I cleaned this the other day. First time in a while. I used oven cleaner, just so you know. I take it outside, put it under put cardboard underneath it, spray with oven cleaner, let it soak a little while. I wash it off with the hose, turn it over, do the other side, wash it off again, and then I take the bed and I stand it vertically up so it could drain, and then I stick it on a corner per se. Like if this was the bed, I stick it and balance it like this so that the water will drain out through the bottom, through the little corners. I'll let it dry for a couple hours and I put it in here. Anyway, just wanted to show you that you can get these things really clean so they look like new. So the first thing you have to do after you get the camera physically installed and you've validated the focus on this camera right here, that's part of the Xtool S1 kit. Okay, hopefully you can see it. This front right here, this little black ring that's attached to the lens on this camera, you turn it. If say you see the image, you run either the camera app in Windows or you run Mac OS X and you run the camera app in there, and you say my image is a little off focus. Before I do anything, you adjust it with this very small increments. You look at the app again, you're running it. I do it in real time. I'm running Windows, so I have the camera app loaded. Actually put on the bed, I put a picture with letters, like really tiny letters, since this I want to zoom in. I then check it out. Once it's sharp, then we get started. Again, on this camera, it's the front right there. So the first thing we're going to do is you can't calibrate with a bed looking like this because it's too shiny. So I take white poster board, I put it on here. I also load in my Xtool S1, I load the lights that they're only about 30% in the brightness. You do that with an XES, and then you exit out, and then you go into Lightburn, and it saves it. So we're good to go from there. So that's all we do right now. The next thing we're going to do is we're going to use the calibration cards. This is Lightburn. I printed it out. I put it on a white poster board as well. You can see it's a decent size. I try to make it. If you look at the bed, it's a little less than 50% of the bed width. Maybe it's around 45%. And over here, it's probably about 75% that way. And this helps out tremendously. First thing we're going to do is right-click on the camera panel and select Calibrate Camera Lens. Later on, we'll do the experimental model. We're going to hit capture, and it takes a couple of times when you first put the cards in there because the camera has to adjust to the light. The goal is to get it less than 0.5 on the scoring. If you could see in the middle, you keep going. Once we get it where it's stabilized, 0.48, 0.47, based on what I'm doing here, we would then click next. It seems like 0.46 is the best right now. The software, the original calibration method, tells you where to go. So you see it says put the chart down below. We keep doing the same process. We can get it between 0.46, 0.7, that's good. And we move it over to the left. I'm going to do one calibration capture and then I'm going to cancel because we're going to go on to the Lightburn 2.0 methodology. And again, once I cancel, I right click on the camera panel and I then hit the experimental calibrate the lens. From here, this pops up. I hit next. If you notice, I have 8 samples in the bottom left corner, and it tells you how many tags it's finding. The green little highlights is showing what the camera is finding. So if you notice right now, it says found 52, 53 calibration tags. I'm going to let it level and stabilize. It's about 51. I hit capture. And I'm going to continue moving this calibration card around the bed. As you notice, it doesn't tell you exactly where to put it. So I try to mimic what the original 1.7 series calibration method was, and I just put it around the bed to try to get full exposure to the whole bed. This way, the Lightburn 2.0 calibration routines can use the captures to create a calibration file, which will basically flatten the lens out so you see a perfect bed. We're going to keep continuing to do this. We're at 5 samples right now. The goal was to get at least 8 samples, and you can capture more. As you notice, as you move the calibration card to different extremes, to the corners, the camera does not see all the tags. That is normal, because that's letting the camera know and the Lightburn software know that this is a wide angle fisheye type of camera. So based on how many tags that it sees, it will then be able to calculate that calibration file. So we've done so far 7 captures. We'll continue on. We do around 2 more. I move the actual Xtool S1 laser module out of the way so that it's not in the way of when we're capturing. So right now we're at 9 samples. Capturing again. That was 54. Now I'm going to click next. When I do that, the software is calculating in the background what the calculation should be for the different types of lenses. So this is a representation of a standard lens. You see it's still curved. It goes to then the fisheye and then to the other calibration file that it calculated. So I'm going to go with this one. I'm going to hit next after this. And I hit save. Now the calibration lens is complete. The next thing I want to do, I put a piece of basswood on the board and I'm focusing the laser, because what we're going to do once the focus is done, we're going to right click on the camera panel again. As you can see, I'm clicking focus. And then I'm going to do calibrate camera alignment. This is where you align the camera to your material thickness of what you're engraving. And this is a 3mm piece of basswood. You select here the top mounted camera, which is to the left. From here, you get a bunch of options. The first thing we want to do is just the fill speed. I'm going to do 120 on the fill speed. On the line speed, 120. And on the powers, on the fill power is 60. And the line power, I chose 60. Next thing is to frame, to see if that image that we're going to, the quadrants, is going to fit on the size of the basswood. I click frame. And you can't see it, the camera's in the way. I'm making sure that it fits. Right now the scale is at 145. It's a little too big for this size of basswood. So if you look at the screen, right below fill workspace, the gray button's on top, something says scale. We're going to adjust that down. I'm just checking this frame one more time. It's just a little too big. You see it's on the outskirts. So I'm going to adjust the scale right over here in the middle, down to 125. I'm then going to frame again to make sure all these 4 quadrants are in the frame of the basswood. And what I had to do here is I just cleaned, as I mentioned at the beginning of the video, my bed, and I pushed the bed in too far, so I'm just going to pull it out a little bit and then just the basswood so that everything is good. I'm going to frame one more time, I believe. And everything is looking good. Again, I had to do the audio afterwards because I forgot I disabled the audio on the camera. That is why I'm talking over. I'm putting my air exhaust on. And then I'm going to start. And it's now going to, yes, it's now going to go through and do the quadrants. Okay, it's completed. Once it's all completed, I'm going to be clicking the next button after this. It's going to come over here. It's going to say capture image. It looks good. That looks good. So hit next. And now I'm going to zoom in. And this is all their new camera system, zooming all the way in. And the goal is you're going to go in the middle and you want to get as close as you can in the middle. So I'm going to go right here, I think right about here. And you want to spend enough time on here to get it as perfect as you can, because then later your offset or your X shift and Y shift will be minimal. So I'm going to go right about here, right? You click right there. That looks pretty good. Now I'm going to move over. Going to scroll all the way over till I get to the 2. And I'm going to go right here. That looks good. Actually, I'm going to undo it. I'm going to do last. You can see it was a little over to the left. And again, you take your time. That's perfect. See how it's perfectly in the middle? And we're probably going to end up doing one over, but let's get these all basically done in here. And then I'll show you how you can readjust if you have one that's not perfect after. So we zoom in again. And you go right here. Right about right there. And we'll probably readjust that one as well, but I just want to show you this. We'll go over here. Probably could have done it darker, everything, but we're fine for now. All right. That looks good. Now, if you notice, it creates a square using the red lines. See how this looks really good here? Let's go up here. Now you can see how good is it. Should I adjust this one? This looks pretty, actually could go a little, let's see, if I zoom out, that's actually not bad. Go over here, that's good. And now we're gonna go down, keep going, that's perfect. And let's go back to this one over here. Let me zoom out a little bit. I'm sorry for the zooming and going crazy inward. This one looks like it could be a little over and up. So I'm going to click right here. I'm going to go down a little bit. Like I said, I take my time. I'm just trying. I'm not going to stay here 20 minutes doing this with you. But you could understand, you take your time. Nope. You see how I double click and I move the arrow. That looks good. So then you hit next. You hit finish. And now what do? I right click here. I export camera settings. I'm going to give it a name. I'm going to say 3mm, today's date, 4/28/25. Okay, I hit save. Okay, now let's see how everything looks. That looks really good. See how flat everything is? We're right to the edge where we did. Now you're saying, oh, it's so bright. I'm going to fade it in there. We go over here, and I'm going to take auto exposure off. Now I'm going to update the camera. You can either do it over there or up here, the little camera. There you go. Now you see everything looks good. Now here comes the test. This is how you test. So I'm going to do a square. I want to test my alignment. This is going to be the X shift. I'm going to show you how to use the X shift, and Y shift. I'm going to show you how to use the X shift and Y shift. That's this over here. I'm going to make this 0 and this 0. Save this. Now let's go to, because that was from my old setting before. Now I'm going to go over here. Right now, speed is 100, power is 20. I want this to be a little darker, so I'm going to do power 35. Let's see how that is. Okay, and now I'm going to engrave this. You go to laser, start, boom. And this is how we adjust the camera with your laser. And it should be off now. It should be slightly off. So that when that's done, I go to capture. Let's see how bad it is. That is pretty good. Look at that. Look at that. That is not bad at all. That's maybe on the, if I adjust the X, let's try a 0.1, just fine. Well, look what happened. Let me just show you. This is in real time, so let me show you. As I increase, it moves this way. Hopefully you can see this. Let me zoom in a little bit more. Now let me go back the other way. That is 0, 0. So again, I think we're really good here. Now, how do we test this? I'm going to put in the circle here, let's put a letter, and we'll see if it's perfect. I'm going to say A. Okay, I'm going to go over here. Go over here. Right there. I'm going to do this as a fill. Okay. And let's start this. Laser, start. Yes. Boom. Let it do its thing. Even I screw up. I'm going to stop this. Guess what we did? Or guess what I did? I forgot over here to get rid of the box. So it started doing a box. I don't need that. And what do? I always tell everyone, which I didn't do today because it's late here. It's after 9. I've been up since 5 in the morning. But what do I usually do? Alt-P first. I didn't do that, so I started doing a box. That's why, again, out of habit, always hit Alt-P before you get going. I didn't do it today. I'm rushing. There we go. Start. Yes. Now we'll do just the A. Again, our X shift and Y shift, 0, 0, dead on. I didn't have to do anything. Now we'll see how close this is. We're done. You go over here. Capture, update. Now, it looks like it's over, but it's not. It's actually, as you see over here, a little afterburn. It's not over. I click here. Let me go to the auto select. Let me go to the selection tool. Move this. And you see it's perfect. Perfectly aligned. So we didn't even have to do an X shift or Y shift. The other thing is, say this was really off, and I showed you in another video what to do. Another method is using the offset. You go to the laser tools. Again, I'm using Lightburn 2.0, so the device settings is over here. You hit device settings. If this was off, I would hit enable pointer offset, because I showed you in my offset video how you turn your camera into the laser pointer and then you adjust the X and the Y. We don't have to do that here, but if we had to, I would enable the offset, and then from here I would then set this to say 0.4, 0.2 and start it, hit OK. I do a burn, and then if it's off a little bit, I adjust the X if it's too far one way or the other, and the same with the Y if it's too up or down. Look at my offset video and you'll see what I'm talking about. But this was the process we went through today. We first did the calibrate camera lens. I used the experimental method. In 2.0, you could do this one, camera lens, the same way. And then also, we then did a calibrate camera alignment. And let's do one more. And I hope this showed everyone that's been asking me and sending me emails about this. I think this will give you what you're needing. There's that. I don't need this to be a fill. I want this to be a line. So I'm going to go here. I'm going to go to line. Now, Alt-P. Make sure I'm not doing an A. I'm not. Now let's do it. Start. Yes. Capture, update overlay. There it is again. We move this over. It's a perfect alignment. What did we do to do that? When we did the calibrate camera alignment for this, you want to get, again, as close as you can in the middle. I hope you see this, the X and Y moving. You want to get it dead on right that on all 4 quadrants. You do that, and you will have a perfect alignment each time. So I hope you learned something today. One, when you're doing the initial calibration for your lens, turn off any exterior lights and you have over it, because if it adds glare, as you saw, it screws up the calibration. It adds glare to the camera in there and bounces off the wood, which will throw off your calibration when you're calibrating the lens. Then you go through and then you do the camera alignment with your basses of wood, and you make sure the quadrants are perfectly aligned. Then you export it, and now you have a perfect alignment. And every time you do a different piece of material, you create a calibration, you build that library. I hope you learned something. I hope this answered all your questions, everybody. I will speak to you soon. Have a good night. Have a good day, or a good morning whenever you're watching this. Talk to you soon, everybody. Thank you. Thumbs up. Subscribe today, please. Take care.